The heavens had opened with a furious intensity, rain lashing down in near solid sheets, transforming the winding country lane into a treacherous ribbon of mud and water. Inside his sleek graphite sedan, Mr. Arthur Finch, a man whose name was synonymous with high-stakes financial victories, gripped the wheel, his knuckles white. The city of Arelon and the career-defining merger that awaited him there seemed worlds away. Less than an hour remained to salvage the deal, every tick of the dashboard clock amplifying the storm within him as much as the one raging outside. Then, with a sickening thud and a violent wrench of the wheel, his world screeched to a halt. A blown tire? Before we journey into this remarkable tale of unexpected kindness and its far-reaching consequences, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more cinematic stories that capture the spirit of human connection. Arthur swore under his breath, a rare show of overt frustration for a man renowned for his icy composure. He maneuvered the heavy vehicle to the precarious edge of the road, the gravel sputtering angrily. Stepping out, the raw fury of the storm instantly soaked his expensive tailored suit. The wind howled like a banshee, and the air was thick with the scent of wet earth and his own mounting despair. He opened the trunk, staring blankly at the spare tire and the collection of tools beside it. Changing a tire was a mechanical mystery to him. His life was one of an orchestrator, not a mechanic. This desolate stretch, miles from the small, unassuming town of Havenwood he'd barely noticed passing, offered no solace. His mobile phone confirmed his isolation. No signal. Just as a profound sense of helplessness threatened to engulf him, a flicker of movement caught his eye through the relentless downpour. 3 figures on bicycles, hazy apparitions in the storm, were pedaling steadily towards him. As they drew nearer, he saw they were teenagers, their laughter, impossibly bright, somehow cutting through the din. They wore well-worn jackets, splashes of vibrant color against the gray day. The lead rider, a lad with an energetic spark in his eyes and a bright yellow hooded jacket, braked skillfully, his companions, Leo and Sam, pulling up beside him. "Looks like you're in a bit of a bind, mister." Marcus, the boy in yellow, called out, his voice surprisingly clear above the storm. "Need a hand?" Arthur Finch, a man accustomed to commanding boardrooms and orchestrating multi-million-pound deals, blinked at the 3 youths. Water dripped from their earnest faces. Their offer was so direct, so unheralded. His instinct was to manage the situation himself, to call upon his network, but the dead phone in his hand and the shredded rubber of his tire were stark reminders of his current impotence. "A flat tire? Yes," he admitted, gesturing towards the casualty. "And I confess, I'm not entirely sure how to proceed." His voice was tight, betraying none of the turmoil he felt. Marcus exchanged a quick, confident glance with Leo and Sam. "We've handled a few of these," he said with a grin that seemed to defy the miserable weather. "Mostly on our bikes, mind you, but the principle's the same, right?" Without waiting for a reply, he leaned his bicycle against the sedan, and the 3 of them surveyed the situation. Leo, sturdy and methodical, began to examine the jacking points, while Sam, quieter but observant, checked the spare. Arthur watched, a strange detachment settling over him as these 3 young strangers took charge. They moved with an unspoken synergy, a well-oiled team fueled by youthful energy and an almost startling lack of complaint. Marcus expertly loosened the lug nuts, his movements quick and practiced despite the slippery conditions. Leo positioned the jack, his brow furrowed in concentration, while Sam cleared away debris and ensured the spare was ready. The rain continued its assault, plastering their hair to their foreheads and soaking their clothes through. Yet they chatted and even chuckled, sharing jokes as if this impromptu roadside repair was an everyday adventure. Arthur found himself observing them, not as a billionaire appraising a service, but as a man witnessing something rare and unvarnished, pure, unadulterated goodwill. Within 20 minutes, a time that felt both an eternity and a fleeting moment, the ruined tire was off, and the spare was securely in its place. "There you go, sir," Marcus announced, wiping a muddy hand across his already grimy jacket, a triumphant beam on his face. "Good as new. She'll get you to Arelon, no problem." Arthur Finch stared at the newly fitted tire, then at the 3 rain-drenched, mud-splattered young men. Relief, profound and unexpectedly sharp, washed over him. He reached into his inner jacket pocket for his wallet, a thick leather fold containing more cash than these boys probably saw in a year. "Incredible work," he said, his voice regaining some of its customary authority. "Truly, you've saved me a great deal of trouble. Please, allow me." He extracted a generous handful of large denomination notes. But as he extended the money, Marcus held up a hand, his smile unwavering, if a little shy now. Leo and Sam murmured their agreement. "No need for that, mister," Marcus said, his sincerity unmistakable. "We were just passing by. Glad we could help. You just focus on getting where you need to go safely." Arthur was momentarily speechless. In his world, every service had a price, every favor an expectation of reciprocity. This was different. This was a transaction of pure human kindness, devoid of agenda. "Are you absolutely certain?" he pressed, the notes feeling suddenly crass in his hand. "It's the very least I can do." Marcus just shook his head, his yellow hood dripping. "We're sure. Have a safe drive." And with that, the three of them retrieved their bicycles, mounted with practiced ease, and with a final wave, pedaled off into the storm, their fading laughter a counterpoint to the receding thunder. Arthur stood there for a long moment, the money still in his hand, watching them disappear. He made his meeting in Erelon, the merger successfully navigated, his reputation intact. Yet, throughout the high-level negotiations and the celebratory handshakes, it wasn't the intricate financial clauses that occupied his thoughts, but the image of three boys, their bright jackets, and their selfless act on a lonely, rain-swept road. Something within him had shifted, a tectonic plate of long-held assumptions. The following days found Arthur Finch unusually pensive. The adrenaline of the Erelon deal had faded, leaving behind a residue of disquiet. The boys' faces, their unhesitating generosity, kept replaying in his mind. He felt an insistent pull, a need to understand, to connect, to do more than offer a fleeting monetary reward. He made a few discreet inquiries, and by the end of the week, found himself driving back towards Havenwood, this time under a clear, bright sky. He found Marcus, Leo, and Sam congregated outside the Sunrise Diner, a cozy, sun-bleached establishment on Havenwood's main street, their bicycles propped nearby. They greeted him with open, friendly surprise. "Hey, it's the sedan man!" Leo called out, a wide grin splitting his face. Arthur chuckled, feeling a lightness he hadn't realized he'd been missing. "Indeed it is, and I'm here to properly thank my roadside assistance crew." He sat with them on a worn wooden bench outside the diner, the aroma of coffee and frying bacon wafting through the air. "What you did for me, it meant more than you know. I'd like to do something for you in return. Anything. New top-of-the-line bicycles, sponsorship for your studies. Whatever you need, consider it done." The boys exchanged glances. Marcus, ever the spokesperson, hesitated. "That's really kind of you, Mr. Finch, but like we said, we didn't do it for a reward." "I understand that," Arthur persisted gently, "but this isn't a reward for service. Think of it as an investment in three exceptional young men." Sam fidgeted, then spoke, his voice quiet. "Well, there is something, sir." Marcus and Leo looked at him, then nodded slowly. Marcus took a deep breath. "It's not really for us, personally, but see, here in Havenwood, we have this youth annex called the Hearth. It's run by Ms. Evelyn Hayes. It's supposed to be a place for kids to hang out after school, get help with homework, learn stuff. But..." He trailed off, looking at his friends for support. Leo picked up the thread. "It's really run down. The roof leaks something awful when it rains hard, the heating barely works in winter, and most of the equipment is broken or ancient. Ms. Hayes tries her best. They have bake sales and car washes, but it's never enough to fix the big things." "She's always worried it'll have to close down for good," Sam added, his earlier shyness replaced by a quiet concern. "And it's important. For a lot of kids here, it's the only safe place they've got. The only place with working computers or someone to talk to." Arthur listened, his gaze fixed on their earnest faces. They could have asked for anything for themselves, gadgets, experiences, things that would have been trinkets to him, but treasures to them. Instead, their first thought was for their community, for a shared space that nurtured others. A profound wave of respect, far deeper than what he'd felt during any business negotiation, washed over him. A youth annex, Arthur repeated, a new kind of resolve solidifying within him. The Hearth, run by Ms. Evelyn Hayes. He saw an opportunity not just for gratitude, but for genuine, lasting impact. Tell me more about it. Better yet, show me. The boys eagerly led him to the Hearth. It was a modest, single-story building, its paint peeling, its windows streaked, yet even in its dilapidated state, there was an air of resilience, a faint echo of laughter from within. Ms. Evelyn Hayes, a woman with kind eyes and a weary but warm smile, greeted them with curiosity. When the boys explained who Arthur was and why he was there, she listened, a flicker of hope warring with years of tempered expectations. Over the next few weeks, Arthur Finch threw himself into the project with the same tenacity and meticulous planning he applied to his billion-pound enterprises. This, however, felt different. This felt real. He didn't just write a check. He brought in architects, contractors, suppliers. He met repeatedly with Ms. Hayes and, crucially, with Marcus, Leo, and Sam, whose insights into what Havenwood's youth truly needed were invaluable. The old leaky roof was replaced. Walls were repainted in bright, welcoming colors. New plumbing and electrical systems were installed. The dark, cramped rooms were opened up, fitted with modern computers, comfortable furniture, a small library, and an arts and crafts zone. The bare patch of ground out back was transformed into a vibrant recreational area with new sports equipment. The day the Hearth reopened, it was as if the entire town of Havenwood turned out. The building pulsed with light, laughter, and possibility. Marcus, Leo, and Sam stood beside Ms. Hayes and Arthur, their faces glowing with a mixture of pride and disbelief as they watched younger children eagerly explore the new facilities. Arthur saw the tangible results of his efforts, but more importantly, he felt an internal shift. The knot of restless ambition that had driven him for decades had loosened, replaced by a quiet, profound satisfaction. The revitalization of the Hearth became a beacon for Havenwood. It wasn't just a building. It was a symbol of what could be achieved when compassion met capacity. Arthur Finch didn't just walk away after the ribbons were cut. He established a small endowment for the Hearth, ensuring its long-term sustainability and the continuation of its programs. He became a regular, if quiet, visitor to Havenwood, finding a sense of community and grounding there that his penthouses and boardrooms had never provided. He learned from 3 teenagers in well-worn jackets that the true measure of a man's wealth wasn't in his portfolio, but in the positive impact he could make on the lives of others. Marcus, Leo, and Sam remained the humble, hard-working young men they had always been. They helped out at the new Hearth, mentored younger kids, and continued their studies, their futures brighter now, not because of any direct payment, but because the heart of their community had been given a new lease on life. They had sought no reward for their kindness on that stormy day, yet they had received something far greater, the knowledge that their simple act of decency had set in motion a wave of change, proving that sometimes helping to fix a stranger's flat tire could, in the most unexpected way, help to mend a little piece of the world. If this story of unexpected generosity and community spirit resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more powerful narratives, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What act of kindness has most impacted your life?